Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Shannon Vaillancourt with me here today. Shannon is the president and founder of RateLinx, a leading provider in supply chain software and data services. Welcome to the show, Shannon.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. So you're in your office over in Scottsdale, kind of where I keep an office near there. And we were just talking golf, and we might circle back to that later in the show. But first of all, can you give us a background on RateLinx and where it's at now?
Sure. So let's see, RateLinx. We were founded in 2002 in the Midwest, in the cold tundra up in the Midwest. We're a software logistics company. So our software is being used by a lot of customers to help them with their shipping. So we have a TMS, we have tracking, shipment tracking, and we also do freight audit and payment for a lot of our customers. So we're able to help on all three facets of shipping. So ship it, track it, and pay it. That's what we help all of our customers with. Okay.
And to many listeners, that may not sound super sexy, but how popular were you like during COVID and when when that happened? How was that?
What's funny is during COVID, our software was being used to do all the transactions and to handle all the payment side. So we didn't really feel an impact other than the volume went up, So, customers were probably doing 20, 30%, 40% more volume than normal. Okay. And probably where we helped is just the fact that the software automates everything. So it allowed them to have the time they needed to do what they really needed to do. But yeah, what a crazy time. I mean, I remember so my son at the time was in school at Colorado Springs. So I remember vividly, I flew up there and I helped him pack up, and then we drove down here to Phoenix from Colorado Springs. And when you get on that I-40 corridor, it was, I've never seen it like that before or after. All the trucks, all the semis that were on the highway at the time, it was amazing. It was crazy. So it's like I'm seeing the volume in the software, and then I saw it in real life. And it was something else. And what was also interesting is that the trucks that I saw on the road are ones you don't normally see. It was a lot of the trucks for food and grocery. Usually you don't see those during the day. But because, you think back to COVID and what was happening at that time, there was just a lot of, things missing at the grocery store. So that's what I noticed that was very unusual, just being on the highway. So that's where my perspective is a little different. So I remember driving back and I'm talking with my son, I'm like, oh my God, you look at that. You don't normally see that. And, at the time he probably didn't care, but, I thought it was interesting trying to teach him something. So.
Right. So this is coming west towards Flagstaff, I imagine.
Yeah, when you cut to Albuquerque, between Albuquerque and Flagstaff, that whole corridor, it was nuts. It was so packed with.
That is the only real throughput through the southern. You can go to I-10 kind of right down into Texas and stuff, but for the most part,
a lot of them take that I-40
up until 80
corridor.
in northern Colorado or Utah and Wyoming.
Yeah, you're either taking I-80 across or you're taking I-40, and then if it's winter, you're probably going to come south. So you're not probably going to go up through the Rockies and that way. But that was February, March? Yeah, that was March. So yeah, they were coming. There was a lot of traffic on I-40 at that time.
You had a flashback just now of the grocery stores. How it was hit or miss on certain items.
And it's the weird items. The weirdest stuff was gone. And it made no sense. One of our customers at the time, when I was talking with them, they're one of the large big box retailers, and they were telling us about the predictions that they were doing, because that's stuff people don't realize is that all these big box retailers, they have a whole department that's trying to predict what people are going to buy so they can make sure things are on the shelf. And he was telling me about how they went through, a run, all the toilet paper's gone.
Right.
Then it was what went next was like the high ply paper towels. And then what went next were plungers.
Because everybody's putting paper towels on
Connect that dot.
the toilet.
Yeah. And it was kind of interesting because of the customers that we have and what we do, some of the conversations that we're able to have, it is pretty interesting. I would say probably 10 years ago, this was a very not sexy thing to do. But I think since COVID, it's become a lot sexier. What we do. A lot of people are more aware of transportation and freight moving in this country.
Oh, sure.
And, after driving across this country, because then my son also had an internship in Syracuse, New York. So I drove him from Colorado Springs to Syracuse. And then I had to drive him here from Syracuse, New York, when he was done with the internship. And you drive across this country, man, it's a big country.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's just freight moving all the time.
Sure.
We consume a lot in this country, which is great. But that's how everything gets there. So that's where in this job, I love it because of all our different customers and just seeing how everything really works. It's pretty cool.
For sure. And I mean, this is still impacting us, right? That's kind of a lot of the political things you see in the news right now, all the onshoring and so forth. It's supply chain is bringing sexy back. It is much more talked about for sure.
Oh, it's one of those things that people just didn't realize. I say this to people all the time. I'm like, go wherever you go and you see something on the shelf. You go to a restaurant, you go to a store. That item wasn't born there.
Right.
It got shipped there. And now they're all aware of it because with COVID, they were talking about it. Now with all the tariffs, people are realizing how much we import. And it is mind-boggling when you actually see the numbers and you realize that, there's a lot of stuff that's being impacted by supply chain issues. Just like during COVID, we were all talking about the ocean freight and then all the boats at port and everything. And my wife and I happened to go to, we went to Myrtle Beach, I think it was, to watch our son golf in a tournament in college. And as we're flying in, you could see all the boats at that time. And then we're staying at the hotel and you're looking out at the ocean. And as the sun goes down, all of a sudden you see all the lights. She's like, "What is that?" And I go, "That's all the boats. It's all the ocean liners." And so it is kind of interesting how now it is very predominant. People are very aware of it.
How did your industry change during that time, or just in the last 10 years in general? I imagine that was a bigger demand on things, other softwares and things. Did you get more or less of the marketplace in different areas because of that?
What's always happened, we've been around for 23 years. So in those 23 years, you think about what's happened. We've had recession, we had the whole bank issues, 2008, 9.
Yeah.
And then we had COVID. Now we've got the tariffs. And each time some of these things happen, what occurs, or at least what I notice, is that people are becoming more aware of maybe some of the weaknesses they have. And the way that they try to solve it, and what they're doing to solve it really is through more software, more data, more reporting. They need to be more intelligent. That's what I'm finding.
More informed. Yeah.
And that's where, we've got, Fortune 50 customers down to, mom and pop customers. And I see it just going down the chain. Fortune 50s, Fortune 500s, they've always kind of been at that level. What these events have done is they lean out. So they try to use systems more and people less is what they do. When you get to the mom and pops, they can't lean out.
Right.
They're a company of 150 people. They can't be less than that. So in order for them to compete, they need software. They need the same level of expertise that the Fortune 500s have. And because of technology and the cloud, it's made it affordable. So that's where I've seen our technology allow itself to get used further down market, where we probably never would have sold to those customers in the past because one, they didn't think they needed it. And then two, they couldn't afford it. But now with cloud and things like that, it's now affordable and they now realize the need and there's actual value for them.
Okay. Has AI, got to talk about that. Has that been impacting the industry?
AI is this great unicorn out there with what we do. So if you talk in our industry, AI is a tool. It is not a product. We use a lot of AI internally. We write a lot of AI and have a lot of AI here, and it helps us service our customers is what it does. So it's going to help us with a lot of the freight auditing that we do and things like that. AI, it's still in its infancy. And I think part of the problem is people don't know exactly how to use it. And also, this is where you're going to get me going off on AI. AI has been around forever. We've been using it forever. People just are unaware because, they think AI is, this fictitious animal that's always going to talk to you, almost like read your mind type of thing. AI is just doing something. It's a computer doing the work of a person.
Right.
That's the textbook definition of AI. So when I think of our system, we integrate it to an ERP. So when they do their shipment, it then pushes back into the ERP of freight cost. I mean, technically, is that AI? Or you could have a person key it in.
Right.
So
automation.
What do you want to call it? Is that AI? Is that not AI? It's probably not the sexy AI that everyone's talking about and thinking about. But I do see a lot of our data going into customers' data warehouse. We're a piece of the pie, but we're not the whole piece. So to do any AI in our data, we can do some of it and show them some stuff around freight and transportation for sure, and we do that. But the bigger picture AI, they need this to match up to their sales, to their costs. And that's where I see a lot of our customers using it on that perspective to help tell them, what should they be doing differently? What could they be doing differently? Alerting them that maybe there could be a problem here or a problem there. But it's a tool that's still, I think, being figured out how to be used correctly today.
Okay. Thank you for that. And so, Shannon, what are some of the bigger goals you have for RateLinx?
Boy, that's a great question. I mean, with us being 23 years old, I'm kind of at the point where it's, we're just steadily growing. That's kind of what we do. We are trying right now to get us to a point where we're into markets that we've never been in before. And again, that's because of the cloud. We're able to offer this. We're international.
You're global. Okay.
Very cool. Yeah, we have customers all over the globe. And really our growth area right now is we've really focused on certain, what we call channels. So we've got partners within certain channels, and the channels are defined by ERPs. And that's
Can you define that for our listeners?
So like an enterprise resource planning software. So, manufacturers, they use this to run their whole company. So like SAP is an ERP or Oracle. And that's where we've got a lot of partners in those areas where we're really pushing into those channels and trying to provide the intelligence that they need on the freight so they can optimize it. Just like today with the tariffs, it's like, what can you do on the tariffs? It's like you can't really avoid them. So we're trying to offer cost savings on the freight side to help offset the tariff cost because they got to find savings somewhere. today. And that's where we're really growing, is on
Hmm.
that side of our business today.
Okay. You kind of hinted at that a little bit earlier, is looking at the weak spots, right? What are the threats? And then if you can address those, that's good opportunity for growth usually.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what we're finding. There's, you know, there's a pocket in the market that we're seeing today. It's small to medium-sized businesses, and that's what drives our economy. I mean,
Right.
it's not the large companies. It really is the small to medium-sized business is what drives the United States economy, and that's where we're finding a huge opportunity area there, where we're able to really help them because we have these enterprise level tools that are being used at that level that are now affordable, and we're bringing it into the small to medium sized businesses. And now they have the wherewithal that, these large enterprises have. And, you combine that with the, my people here and the experience they have, and it's a pretty big value prop to these guys. And that's where we're seeing a lot of growth on our side.
Can we double click on that a little bit more in the sense of, well, maybe let's back up. Who is a ideal customer who's having trouble with X and they come to you guys for help, and right, who's sort of an ideal candidate for RateLinx?
For us, it's anybody that's shipping multiple modes of freight. So they're doing maybe some UPS and FedEx.
Okay.
Maybe they're doing some LTL shipments. They've got a pallet or two of stuff that goes out. And maybe they, from time to time, have a full truckload of stuff that goes out the door. It's like, that's a perfect customer for us. We can come in and help them really manage that freight spend better with our software and our tools, and give them some competitive offerings that help them, get some better rates with carriers and make sure that they're using those rates correctly with those carriers, and then automate some of the manual processes that they were doing where maybe they didn't realize they were using up a person or two,
Right.
was doing non-value added work just to,
Right.
just to tactically move freight. It's like really move it around, make it more of a
Right.
strategic asset for them.
So you can improve the processes, probably speed things up, but also save on time and payroll for people processing all that stuff
Absolutely.
in the old school way.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you, it's a hard thing to comprehend in our industry that, we are auditing freight bills for customers, and still to this day, customers are charged wrong. And it's a hard thing to understand. It's like, where else in your life would you go and buy something and the price isn't right? Imagine you go to the grocery store, you buy all these items, you check out, and you get home and you're like, oh my God, my tomatoes, that's not the right price. It was,
Right.
supposed to be a dollar each, and it was $2 each. That's what we see on the freight side, and
All the time.
it's shocking.
Okay.
And part of it is the complexity of the agreements, and then part of it is the manual side of it. There's still a lot of manual entry on the carrier side when they do the invoicing. It just causes errors. It's just all there is to it. And that's where we're able to catch that stuff and help them get that recovery.
Nice.
And to do that manually, it's hard to do. It takes a lot of time, and that's where it's not worth the time.
Right.
Freight bills off by $10. They're like, well, it's going to cost me that much just to find it.
Right. Right.
Well, not for us. We can catch it, because the computer's doing it all. That's where the AI kicks in, and it catches all that stuff.
For sure. For sure. So what are the biggest hurdles for growth, for your consistent, steady growth?
Boy, that's a good question. I'd say right now, I would say the uncertainty of the tariff situation.
Okay. Yeah. Just the markets in general. People are.
That's what will slow everything down for us, is whenever there's uncertainty out there. Once there's certainty, then we're fine. If I go back to 2008, 2009, 2010, with all the bank issues that we went through, there wasn't uncertainty. There was definitely issues, but that didn't slow us down at all. That actually sped us up, because it was all about automation. It's
Okay.
right now, it's the uncertainty in the market. That's what slows us down. Otherwise,
Sure.
I mean, you saw during COVID, freight has to move, man. Freight has to move. And that's
Yep.
where I was lucky when I got out of college that I got into this industry, because I've never really noticed a slowdown ever in my entire career, because freight has to move in this country. It's a big country.
Right. Oh, so you're in a unique position, and this might have been a little prior to your time, but the whole Y2K stuff, right? That was the biggest concern I remember, was everybody was afraid that not everybody, a lot of people thought the banks, everybody was going to explode, but the people who I thought knew the most about the issue were talking about the logistics and the nature of the trucking industry and how supply chains were going to be all messed up, and that's what moves the country.
But so that is, I wish that was before my time.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you started in 2000 something.
The company started in 02.
Okay.
I started in this industry in 93.
Oh, all right. So can you shed a little light on how that actually played out?
Yeah, my job was to implement. So I remember Y2K very well. It was a great year. 99 was a great year. I was part owner of a company that did small parcel manifesting. We resold software. The company was called EvCore, and then we ended up selling in 2000. And it was because of the great growth that we showed in 99, thanks to Y2K. I don't know. After going through it and everything, I thought it was kind of, I didn't know if there was really an issue. I mean, I knew how the software worked. Yeah, it was a 2-digit year. So what? The way everything worked, everything equaled the 2-digit of the year. Probably the issue would have been if you're doing reporting that spanned into the 90s. Because of the way that everything works, you're saying, give me everything where the date is less than or equal to 0, but greater than or equal to 98. So you wouldn't be able to pull reports. That's what would happen. But would we have all, would the lights have turned off? No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
But those are the types of queries and formulas that would have definitely had issues, because we only had a 2-digit year saved everywhere. That was really the issue with the software. It wasn't that we were moving to the year 2000 and that was special. It was that we just only saved the last 2 digits of the year. So all of those equations and formulas would have blown up and not worked well.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that. So, I guess we were talking a little bit about cost savings, right? Trying to track $10 by paying a person to do that is way more expensive and not worth it. Cost of payroll has gone up and up in the past few years. Does that mean your margins have gone up a little bit?
No, I mean, our cost is our cost. With what we do, most of our work is done by the computer. So I think it just makes it easier for us to cost justify the solution to a customer is what we've found. That's it. Sure. But our cost is our cost. We haven't noticed that our price has gone up just based on normal costs.
The market, yeah.
Most of our cost is going to be centered around either our technology cost, all the hosting cost, and it's going to be based on our service, which is people. So again, we keep our people. Got to keep them employed and give them their rewards for doing well and stuff like that. But that's it. So it's nothing crazy.
Okay. So we talked about goals for the company. How about goals for you personally moving forward?
That's a great question. I don't really think about myself that much.
Hard when you're in charge, right? It's always about the company and everybody else.
Oh, with what I've been, I'm here to support my team is how I look at it. I love being part of the team. I love having a team. And, I get a kick out of watching them succeed. For me, I don't know, my goal is, personally, probably, let's see, my 30-year wedding anniversary is coming up here in
Oh,
13 days,
oh wow.
18 days. I don't
Okay,
even know
mine's
the
coming
date.
up this year too. My third
Yeah.
year.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, you too. So my goal is not to screw that up. Make sure my wife's happy on that side. Make sure my kids are happy. I got twin boys. One of them works for me. I was able to talk him into it after he got laid off from his first job. I let somebody else train him, and then I brought him here. And then my other son's a assistant pro at Gainey Ranch. So probably my personal goal is to improve my golf game so that both of my boys will want to golf with me. That's probably it.
Awesome. That's very fun. I thought we'd come back to golf. So, well, it is, right? I mean, because my kids, we were just they've played all sorts of sports, soccer, football, lacrosse. It's just, but it's hard to play those your whole life, right? You don't see people. You can see tennis, pickleball, you can do later, and golf.
Yeah.
Those seem to be the ones you can do for.
I don't know. I played tennis in college and I can't serve overhand. I can't swing over my shoulder anymore
Oh,
from that. So that's why I
yeah.
picked up golf.
Okay.
I picked up golf in '02. So that was so it's funny. So I was part owner of EvCore in Wisconsin. We got bought in 2000. I worked for the company that bought us for 2 years. I was the VP of professional services. They were publicly held in London. It was, great experience for me. And then I left and I took about 6 months off. And my boys were 2 at the time, so I took care of them. My wife was a teacher. We lived in the Chicago suburbs, so she taught 6th grade, I think it was. And I thought, if I'm gonna, when I get back to work, I want to do it myself. I want to start my own company. I want to do it myself. And every great salesperson I had known was a good golfer. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to golf. So that was the one skill that I had to pick up in order to be a business owner in my
Aha.
in my little small mind 23 years ago. And so I went to the local park district, took some lessons, and then I golfed until they closed the courses for the year. And so then when my boys got to be 5, I took them with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm going to get them into golf. And this is when I had a little bit more smarts at that time, because I'm like, if I get them into golf, then I'm going to be like, oh, honey, boys want to go golfing. I got to take them golfing again. And I did. It worked. They loved it. And I had to take them golfing all the time. So it's it worked out for me. So that's been my thing with my boys. Last summer we went back to Wisconsin and we went on a golf trip. And we played Whistling Straits, played the Straits course. We played Black Wolf Run. We played the River course. We went to Erin Hills, played Erin Hills. And then we played Sand Valley and Mammoth Dunes. And then we finished at Medina and then flew home. So
Isn't Medina in Minnesota?
Medina is Chicago.
Okay.
The Medina Country Club down in Chicago, down in Medina, Illinois, where they're having the President's Cup.
Okay.
So, and that was our week, and it was great.
Awesome.
Just me and the boys.
Very cool. Very cool. You ever go over to the motherland of golf and go play in Scotland?
No, not yet.
Is that on the agenda?
We've talked about it, especially my son, who's the PGA professional. He's definitely talked about it. I don't know, living here in Scottsdale in the Valley.
Yeah, you're pretty spoiled.
Everyone's like, oh, when are you going? Whenever I go on vacation somewhere, they're like, oh, are you going to go golfing? I'm like, not really. It's like, you have no idea what I have here. I mean,
right.
This is great. And then I have a son who's a PGA pro, so it's like I kind of can tag along with him.
Right.
to a lot of really nice courses. And because I go with him, it's free.
Yep.
It's crazy. I
It's a
love it.
great point. I have one of my investors, they were over in Scotland recently, and we were talking about it, and they said it rained half the time and it was miserable. The sun came out twice on like 2 holes out of
Yeah.
all their days there. Whereas one of my friends, he's a banker in Austria. I met him over there actually. Uh, and he knew more about Arizona and all the restaurants and golf courses than I did,
Huh.
because he's golfed all over the world, all over all these places all the time, and they come multiple times a year here because of the consistent weather and how great the courses are.
Yeah, it is. It's so nice here. And it's so funny with my son being a PGA professional. I remember his freshman year, we sit through the orientation at Colorado Springs talking about the PGM program that they have there. And they said if he gets his PGA card, he's a PGA Class A professional, so he's a teaching pro and works at the pro shop. And he gets free admission to any PGA event. He gets free admission to the Masters, the US Open, the PGA. And I thought, no way. There's no way. Well, last year, was it last year? 2 years ago, I was invited to the Masters by a partner. And,
Okay.
they had a house, all this stuff. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, do you mind if my son comes along with? He doesn't need a ticket, nothing. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So me and my son fly out to
Very
Augusta,
cool.
and we were there for Saturday, Sunday, and it was the year that John Rahm won it. And sure enough, we go to the entrance, and there's a special entrance for PGA professionals. He goes there, he shows his PGA card, gets a ticket.
Nice. Very
And
cool.
I was like, so you want to talk about probably a pretty priceless experience for me, was hanging out with my son at the Masters on Saturday and Sunday,
Right.
and walking the whole course with him. That's something that you can't do,
Right.
very,
Yeah.
very often. And then, of
No.
course, we've done waste management here a bunch of times because
Sure.
we get in free with him,
Okay. Sure.
which is pretty nice. But
Very
don't
different
go,
event.
don't go on Sunday. We went 1 year, and I'll never do that again. That was
Right. I like the
different.
pro-am at Waste Management.
Yes, that I would absolutely do. That would be funner to go see that. But yeah, Sunday, no.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So what else? So prosperity moving forward. A lot of our investors are looking for towards the future and how they can sort of transition away from their active income to passive income. And what are your thoughts on that?
It's one of those things where I don't I haven't thought about it much until recently, and I think it's just because I'm getting older. And I'm trying to figure out what that's gonna, one, can I do it? First of all, I've been doing this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can I not do this? Or how can I transition to something where, it's not that I can't have passive, it's just I'm used to having active income so much and working. How do I transition even my brain to thinking differently with that stuff?
Sure.
And that's something I think it's still relatively new, so I don't have any answers on that yet.
Okay. I take it you still really enjoy what you do. You've been doing it a long time, so I assume you like it.
I must not hate it. I mean, I come in every
Right.
day. I'm pretty pleasant to be around. No, I enjoy the challenge and I enjoy the teamwork. I mean, it's the camaraderie,
Okay.
it's funny when I took that 6 months off. I mean, 23 years ago, I was a young guy back
Right.
then, and I missed it. And what I missed wasn't the work. I missed the kind of
Purpose?
the winning,
Yeah.
the losing, the trying with the team, that excitement. That's what I really
The
missed.
challenges. Yeah.
That's what I love.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, I still like it. I still get a kick out of it. So that's going to be a hard one for me to figure out when that's going to die.
Sure. Well, if Warren Buffett's in the indicator this week, he said he was going to retire next year, right?
When I saw that, I'm like, he's 94? Holy cow. I'm like, I knew he was old, but I'm like 94. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be me. I don't think it's like, yeah, if I can make it till 90, first of all, if I'm alive at 94, that would be fantastic. Hopefully. That would be fantastic. Hopefully I'm in good shape. But man, to be working that long, I can't imagine.
Well, I think if that's what gives you meaning, right? And you enjoy it, right? That seems like the perfect place to be. That's also part of the secret to his success too. I mean, when he was 50, he was not a remarkable success. It was almost all his money. 99% of his money is made in like the last 2 or 3 decades.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much. I mean, I definitely am thinking of, how I can, build the company, help the people that are here now today and watch them succeed and grow. Because I see a lot of people, I was an implementer. I implemented our software or software like ours, in the 90s and early to mid 2000s. So I've done that. I've done the support. I've done the sales. I've done everything. So I understand what they're doing, and I kind of get a kick out of watching them, watching everybody grow and watching them succeed. And
as you said, that's empowering them, I think is the word you used. And that's what good leaders do. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I've kind of transitioned into that role. That's why, when people ask me about, what do I want? It's like, I want everybody out here to be happy, and to be challenged and be fulfilled. That's what I really want. I'm not looking for anything more than that, because if that all happens, customers will be happy. Customers are going to be, customers will refer us, and the company's going to be in good shape. It's like, that's really all I care about.
Excellent. Those are all top values. That's awesome, Shannon. So, if people would like to connect with you or learn more, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, probably the best way to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'd say is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just send me an email on LinkedIn, or connect with me on LinkedIn. And then from there we can, talk about whatever.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you very much, Shannon Vaillancourt, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your story and insights into logistics and supply chain and golf. Here in
My
Phoenix.
pleasure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.